Hello everyone and welcome to another creator series for Pop-Up Dungeon. This time we're going to be looking at equipment creation, and we're building off of the ability creator here. So if you haven't seen abilities, you might want to see that one before you watch this video, just because we are going to talk about abilities. But this one's going to be pretty short. I'm just going to run down the list here. The very first thing that you're going to choose when you're creating a piece of equipment, right now we're just modifying the Mad Axe, is what slot it belongs to. Right now it's a primary weapon. You can make it a secondary weapon. You'll see that he's going to hold it in his offhand. The primary can be two-handed or one-handed. So if I make it one-handed, you'll see that he gets an offhand there. You'll also see that the stats are going to change down there because obviously a two-handed weapon is more powerful than a one-handed weapon since you don't get to use your offhand. Next, you get to choose your preferred statistic. The preferred statistic is going to be what fills basically all of the rest of the stats if you didn't activate those. The negative statistic is optional here. You can say, if let's say that you had a sniper rifle that had aim, but you're going to want to bring down, cover, or you're going to want to bring down evasion, you can do that. If you had, excuse me, if you had a melee weapon that you wanted to bring your aim down with, you could do that there too. That's completely optional, and of course adding a negative is going to increase the power of all the other stats. Then you move down here to the common stats, uncommon, rare, epic, and legendary. Those are going to be according to the tier. We can also view the tier down here in the viewport controls, how it's going to appear at each of these tiers. You'll also notice that beneath all of this, and all of these stats can of course be unique there. After this, you get to choose an ability. This is also going to be optional. If you do not choose an ability, then instead of getting an ability at the uncommon, which is this for weapons, it'll tell you there when that ability would be unlocked. When you hit uncommon, you would get additional stats. So it would be a very powerful boost to your stats instead of gaining an ability. Of course, abilities can really change the tide of battle, so that's also a great option. If you hover over the card, it'll show you the ability there, and you can go and edit the ability from here if you wanted to. Next, we're going to set the chance for it to drop. So here, this is just if it's going to be common or uncommon, etc. And then you can limit it to drop to specific tiles if you wanted. If you wanted to set it to drop from enemies, then you'll have to actually set that on the enemy itself. Next, we move on to the Cosmetic Tab. Here you're going to get a name. You can change the name according to the tier. So you can start with something kind of comical or, rusty axe or whatever you want to do, and move on to something that sounds a little bit more epic, and eventually the legendary name. Next, you're going to be able to select the image. It can be pretty much anything. So here's the axe battle. I'm going to go ahead and just change it real quick to the Viking axe. There it is. It's very big because that's the way that the size is set here. I'll set it back to the axe battle, but it could be even, the armor that he's holding in his hand there. It can be any image that you import. It'll automatically cut it out for you as usual. Or if you import with alpha, it'll create those little 3D cutouts for you. As you can see, it's just like a little paper cutout. Then we can adjust the way that it appears on the character. I know he's doing some push-ups, but once he gets back up, we'll see that you can hold it in the outer hand. This is good for shields and claws and things like that. The same goes for the arm there. Of course, we're going to hold this weapon in the inner hand. You can hold it forward if you wanted to. This is good for guns, and maybe if you're doing like a fencing grip, like a pistol grip or something like that, you can even hold it downwards if you wanted to. You can adjust where they're holding it from, so you can have him hold it however you'd like, and you can adjust the angle of that as well. And then you can actually select where, sorry, I skipped the size here. So you can actually set the size. You can have it be a teeny tiny axe, or you can have it be a super enormous axe. Obviously, you're going to want to keep it something reasonable so it doesn't clip through everything as you're walking through space, but you do have that option there. You can have a two-handed weapon be held in the offhand. That's great for bows, like for bows and arrows. And then you can come down here and select where you're going to be emitting effects from when you cast. So here I can just turn that on and we can see that's where it's coming from. I can adjust that to come from any place in the axe that I want to. Of course, that's really great for guns so that you can make sure that it's coming right out of the appropriate barrel or muzzle or whatever it might be. And then down here, you get to select the equipment audio. That means whenever the item drops, it'll actually play that sound. So that's something that you're not going to be able to hear right now because I'm not actually recording sound, but you can actually press this little button here, this little audio button, and you'll actually be able to hear them without having to select them and test them. So that's pretty nice there. You can also select the character that you want to see it equipped on. So you just come in here and select Orin if you wanted to see how it would be when Orin is holding this axe. So that's pretty much all of what you need in order to create a piece of equipment. It's quite simple. If you wanted to, you can also play the equipment drop. This is how it's going to look and sound. Again, the sound is off, but it's going to play the whole audio and visual package for when something would drop that piece of equipment. And that's basically all you need to know for this, especially if you're doing something like a piece of armor. It's going to be even easier. You don't even have to worry about all of the visual parts of where it's placed and everything. It'll just be on the card and equipped on the character. That's it for now. Thanks.